Hello everybody. I started this live thing the other day and I'm going to continue. I'm going to document the finished product here. This is a little garden project that I did. One of these, you're at home, let's do something interesting things. So what I've done is I've created an automated watering system, and instead of using those clunky little automated watering things that hook up to your faucet, I've decided to go with one of the kind of professional, semi-professional automated sprinkler system things. So I'll summarize what I've done for anybody who's interested and might want to try this. So this is my back patio here. I'll back up a little bit, and I've built this series of staggered shelves for plants, and if it looks crooked, it's crooked by design. The idea is that I don't have any saucers underneath these pots, so when I water them, the water flows out and goes down to the side and drains away. The idea is that I don't want any standing water to promote mosquitoes or anything like that, and I don't want the water to be rolling across the patio here and get mossy and slippery. So I wanted to create a kind of a clean automated irrigation system that worked well. Now this also could be used with reclaimed water like rain barrels and stuff like that. I'm just got it hooked into my municipal water. And I did another video the other day where I was hooking up the water line, and now it's all done. So let me show you what I've done here. So this is basically the water hookup right down here. Move this out of the way. So yeah, here we go. So I'm using some 2-inch PVC here. So I put in a little, oh, look at that, there's a butterfly. That's a good sign. I like that. First butterfly I've seen. Put in a little T-joint right down here into the copper line. This basically was a hose bib, and I cut that and sweated that, put a T-joint in, put a little valve, and then the valve is attached to a connector here that hooks into PVC. So the PVC goes up here, and right now I have the switching valve right here, a little solenoid. I've got the actual controller just sitting here. I'm going to mount it inside later. And it goes up to a filter up there, and then a series of irrigation tubes. And let's see, I'll show you where they all are. So if you see the tube snakes around and goes right up underneath here. I've got it cable tied to the shelf, and then these little feed things are coming off and going into the plants. I'm using a 1/2-inch main tube with these 1/4-inch, maybe that's a 1-inch tube, I don't know, maybe 3/4 inch, I don't know. I think it's maybe a little, maybe it is a 1/2 inch, because this is 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch inside diameter. So these are 1/4 inch little feed tubes here. So I'm having drip lines going into every plant, and I can set it up on a schedule and have it automatically water stuff. That's pretty cool. I have a few plants that are not actually on the watering thing, because I'm going to probably be moving them around. And I'm also going to experiment with what interval I'm going to use to water these things. So let's take a look at the controller, and let's turn this thing on and see what happens. Okay. Oops. Okay. So this is our controller, which are kind of standard Rainbird kind of controller. It can have 6 different zones in it. This is supposed to be, this one's not built to be outside, so I've just got it under the overhang while I test everything. So you can have 6 different zones, 6 different water things. I'm going to end up having a fountain out here too that I'm going to build. And when I build the fountain, I'm going to actually program this to top off the fountain. I'll measure the amount of evaporation that might be coming from the fountain, and I will time this thing so that it adds more water at a particular, ratio, so that I'll never have to really worry about the fountain going dry or messing up the pump. So let's turn to this. I only have one zone, so I just hit this button and it turns the zone on for 1 minute. So this little valve fires up. You can hear it working. And then there's all our little watering things. They're just chugging away. You can hear them just doing their thing. See? And these are pretty neat, these little things, because you can adjust them to drip a lot or a little. I'm going to run these things for just a few minutes, multiple times a day. Pinch that off. So these are all tomato plants that I brought back from Italy, or from seeds. I grew them from seeds that came from Italy. They're the real deal Roma tomatoes from Rome, or Roma, the Roma style from the, you know what I'm talking about. See what you see. Ken's written something here. Let me see if I can see. What is used for the controller? Oh yeah, so it's a Rainbird controller, which you might have already guessed. I'll show you. It's right up here. This I got off Amazon.com. You can find them in Lowe's and Home Depot too. I was using those hose-based ones with the batteries in them, but it's really annoying when the battery goes out and you don't always know the battery, and suddenly your plants just keel over because they haven't been being watered. And I really just like having it automated. It's really, really simple to hook these things up. The hardest part is hooking the water line to the solenoid valves. This is the valve right there. Now, normally these things would be underground, buried in a little box, and you'd have all of these lines buried in a lawn for a regular standard irrigation system. I've got it set up above ground right here, and it's working well. And these the solenoids run off at 24 volts, and it wouldn't be too difficult at all to have an Arduino control them. They're really, really simple. So I'm sure that Rainbird actually probably has a little app you can run on your phone to turn these things on and off too. There's probably higher end models that have network connectivity and stuff like that. But I don't really need that. I just need something to set it up to water. And these things are pretty. Let me show you the interface on this thing. It's pretty simple and straightforward. So you set any of the 6 zones, and you can set what days of the week it waters on, and you have 4 different times that you can turn on or off. So, for example, what I've on my zone 1, first time is it's watering right now, so I can't do any kind of programming, but I can say what turn it on at 7 a.m. for 3 minutes, then turn it on at 2 p.m. for 4 minutes, and then turn it on at like 7 p.m. for 10 minutes or whatever. It just depends on how you got it set, and it works pretty well. And so this tells me what is there 7 minutes to go on zone 1. And I just manually turned it on, so it'll kick off. But I can look at it at any time, and it'll tell me the next time it's scheduled to turn the water on. You can see I've even got it watering right down there. This is a jackfruit tree, and there's a little poblano pepper there in its shadow. So I'll have that going. And what else? If anybody has any questions, I can talk about the plants that I've got here. It's mostly tomatoes, and I'm traditionally really crappy at doing tomatoes. And so I'm going to be reading up a lot more on the different kinds of supplements and stuff. And I'm going to get into pruning these things. I hear there's tricks. There's something called the one stem method, where you prune the tomato so that it just grows off of one stem. I'm gonna play around with these different ideas. And you can see there's a little bit of water right there coming out. This is because I got to get this water trained properly. Let me. But when this is working right, all the water runs down. You can actually see it working right there. See the cabbage, and then the water is just running off. So any over will fall down there. And I can reclaim that water and use it for something else. So my garden's coming along. Show you what I got in it. This is paprika. Right here. This is tomatillo, and there's 3 different kinds or 4 different kinds of tomatoes. They're all heirloom tomatoes. We'll see whether they can handle this heat or not. Just remains to be seen, but they all seem to be doing pretty well. They're growing pretty fast now too. And I'm also going to have a bunch of succulents. I've got one succulent thing up here that's doing pretty well, and I've got a bunch more of those I'm going to bring around. And see, oh, I've got beans up here, and there's actually beans on it. Right off of the vine. I really don't think there's anything better than a fresh bean right off of the thing. Although I will wash it. So I'm going to hit it with my hose. Just to be safe. And then, oh, that's good. That's really good. Yum. Oh yeah. So there's more beans right over here. Let's see what we got. These are Roma beans. These are kind of these Italian long beans. They're very tasty. I don't even think you need to cook them. Just yum. So I'm trying different things here to see what's going to work in the climate as it's changing. Some citrus trees, goji, macadamia. I've also got some avocados that are in the front of the house that I'm going to probably move back here. So there you have it. Nice little fun, simple project to do. A little automated watering system, and then you don't have to worry about it. Once it's done, it's done. So I'll maybe do another video later on so we can see how these plants have grown and see if I'm able to keep them all alive and see how they're doing. These are I planted them maybe about a month ago from seed, so we'll see how productive they end up being. Until next time, thanks for watching.